for me, the word submissive was very triggering. Not anymore, because I understand that if you are with the right partner, you're not going to have a problem with that because you're going to feel safe.
Yeah.
It's a matter of feeling safe for a woman to feel okay with being submissive. Like, I am totally okay with the thought of me potentially being a stay-at-home wife if our finances allow us to, because I no longer feel like, well, if he's making all the money, then he's just gonna leave me.
Yeah, like you
dry,
always feared. Even, I mean, there's people like, oh, having like a secret bank account and stuff like that, because they fear like you never know what's gonna happen. That's a 50-50 that you never know. Like,
right. But then there's men, like I've heard conversations like this from healthy individuals, healthy relationships again, where the man doesn't care. Like, if the wife, has her little part-time job doing whatever she's passionate with. Maybe she sells, I don't know, her artwork, or maybe she sells, I don't know, hair bows, whatever it is. And she has her little side job and she makes her side money, but the family doesn't need her side money. Yeah. And so the husband is totally okay with her, saving her money for herself, for whatever she wants, for whatever she needs as a backup for whatever the case may be, to maybe make her feel safe.
Yeah.
If you're a husband who has the right intentions, you're not going to feel threatened by that.
Yeah, of course.
You're just going to accept it and say, well, if that makes her feel better about everything, like, who am I to say you can't have your own money? A lot of women like that. They like to have their own little side money. They just like the idea of having a man that can provide, and them not having to use their money for household things, or they just want to have it as a safety net.
Yeah. And it's weird because we're in such a new circumstances. It's like,
this is uncharted territory.
Yeah. Like, we just started a new business not long ago. So this also new, your mentality of now speaking about, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, and like I want to transition into, maybe the goals you had are not the same. Like, that's a new mindset that you just acquired.
Yeah, it's been working in my head for maybe like a year.
Some of the things that I would say are still with you, like at your core, is that like you do want to be better.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the things that in the beginning I will say, like, oh, like, what does she bring to the table? And it was always that, like, even if you are a stay-at-home mom or whatever you are, like, you still are like, okay, how do we succeed?
In the core of me, right? Yeah.
So to me, like, that is one of the things that I say you bring to the table. And like I mentioned in previous podcasts, I'm like, that you believe in me, right? Those are things
that bring you that type of peace.
Exactly. And even if we're at a stage where I am not the sole provider because we can't, because of everything that's going on, we know that we're working towards that, and you're like totally fine with what's our current situation.
Yeah. Even if it's a tough situation, I'm just strapping up and like, I understand that this is just where we are now. It doesn't mean this is where we're going to be forever. So.
But it was also weird for me to like experience, because it was like, you was always like, oh, I want to be like the CEO, the boss. And then out of nowhere, you was just like, when we started this, it was kind of like, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't want to deal with that. And I was totally fine. I think I even asked her, like, do you really want to do that?
Yeah.
Which again is totally fine.
It's that kind of thing that, you just start growing up and your mentality about certain things start to change, and you all of a sudden start to feel like maybe what I thought was more important isn't really that important. And so now that my kids are older, they see what I do, they understand what's going on. For me, it's important that they're taken care of, and that's more of a priority than me trying to be a CEO. Yeah. Like, I understand that both of us should be present, and I feel like you are present as much as you can. But let's face it, like, we are people who don't come from wealth. We're trying to build a business that we've never done, and it's difficult. Like, there's so many obstacles, so many learning curves, like just so much that it could get overwhelming. And so I understand that at some point you're going to be very involved with what's happening in the business and you're not going to be mentally present. So one of us has to be.
Yeah.
So that's where my mentality kind of shifted a little bit. It's like we can't both be not present mentally.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, you can watch the full episode of our podcast here.